I'm always wowed by most my Yeja Yenana. That an age and still out Bosch walk over there, and I'm surprised. We man get to be a man to make it.
Like this,
because last year, you were 76. This year, 77, and you saw a tumuko up and down like that. Wow. No, but I'm sure there's a secret or there's a secret.
We are going for one of them.
But last time, his secret go to her.
Secret being. Secret being.
Wow.
Now, the woman they remember who see it.
Okay.
Those two things.
Okay.
Those are.
Show.
That's it.
And we'll be coming to you more to let more to stay fit like this in our time as well. You more come back to the Western region.
Yeah, me too. So that's it.
August last year you were here.
That's right.
September this year.
Yeah.
Asaba had it. Looks like you have an affinity for the region. Akwaba, it wasn't
about me, Ben said, he's a president. Would you be president, man? A man from who said, oh, you must so bad, Sankra. It's a 10-year or more than a pop for a woman. See, there are some who say 16, first night at 10, they buy another 10, and say, let's about 16. Remember what they made at least once a year using the corporate air possible. There are two things which you get from it. One, wow, the infant said, road projects. Road projects in all Western region, 78 active road projects in all Western. Nobody said, a man quite crazy and part. When I post when I interchange, I hear what I'm saying. Those say, those things, I'm comfort. Say, why you're born crying? You son in the German so here says here. So that's the first thing for you to verify for yourself. Some part, central government they have to war and crying on. It's not impacts war. District impacts more, local impacts more. And a second way, so say I hope I was so. And mommy quite each year is somewhere there amount for apples. See to what extent, some memory so they're guided by memory. Better say, apostle, here say, you're winning a major problem. You mean, what? Can't solve all the problems of the people all in one go, but at least to hear directly. So these are the specific problems of a particular neighborhood. And also everyone and the Western region, so much of the wealth of this country, if we are. Now, if previous administrations had as much focus in the development of this region as they should. Maybe after by this time, we know region.
Great. Last year, you made a profound statement that you want to dramatically turn around the infrastructure fortunes of the region. And in fact, since then, PTC interchange, Takrade Market Circle, GMPC headquarters is progressing steadily. And as part of that, tonight I'm told there will be a short cutting for the Taka Road. Beautiful. Now, one thing you need to is the FM Quantary development. Within the week, I was told the loan agreement was signed. Yes, loan was signed, but we are putting with the Aswabo for my address as do we know when exactly those kind of
the formalities now? You know, the government projects and sign out there go through a lot of formalities, value for money audit, the formal paper agreements, in some cases parliamentary processes, all those things. When you announce that this is what you want to do to the time you're actually able to do it. Unfortunately, our system needs to be passed. But the package for the Western region and the rehabilitation refurbishment and rehabilitation of the Fiat Quarter, and then the construction of a new hospital, a new regional hospital. The Fiat Quarter is no longer going to serve as a regional hospital for the Western region. And a main teaching hospital. Main teaching hospital. And I feel a regional hospital.
Yes,
yeah. And you know, these matters are going on, and I have a special interest in making sure that some of these specific infrastructure projects are dedicated to regions taken up and have been completed. And they will be
a good idea there. Special interaction with the first gentleman of the land, Nana Addo for His Excellency. Now, as part of the whole hospital agenda, one on Abado, brilliant. And then call Shama, the Shama Hospital sword was cut for last year, but still she see. Any update on that one?
According to regional minister, the contractors on site.
Okay. So it means that that's also a plus there. That the contractor is on site.
It means you have also to update yourself.
Exactly, Mr. President. I have to. He got me there. All right. Now, Agenda 111. What's the rationale for this grant? Because them don't confirm branded grant project or to them 111.
To be honest, I mean, let me go to the genesis of it. Time COVID-19, but first, you make them it looks as if it was sweeping the country. So my council Gates, Melinda Gates, being that no Africa will be falling down in droves in the streets, dead from the disease. Now, Mamadou Bawumia, I can tell you, said there were 80 at that time, 88 districts. Oh, Ghana, 80 district hospitals. Subsequently, we discovered that in fact the figure was 101. But at that time, in this Senate, so if you look at the original concept was Agenda 88. Then we see then a lot of our people are defenseless. As some tour, and what about me? I got really scared, and I felt sad about the same. My responsibility is to find a way out to protect the population and protect the people. So that is the instinct which brought about the Agenda 88, which subsequently became Agenda 111, because then we added on to it the regional hospitals from the 6 new regions, plus the one for Western region.
Yes, or many.
Now, psychiatric hospitals and organs concentrated just in Accra. Then there's a need to disperse them around the country. But the initial fear I had was that God willing, we're able to survive this pandemic. Arrangements here. We're going to expose our population to a lot of suffering. I don't say, political leader, you have to have some sense of responsibility for your people, some sense of compassion for them, and see how you can best mobilize the resources of the country to protect the population. And that is the instinct. People can call it grand, they can give whatever words that they want to it, but for me it is absolutely necessary. You have a situation wherever you are in Ghana, as some tour, you have access to basic healthcare, reasonably, to a facility reasonably. And sorry, in 18 months, 2 years time, you have some back. 260 districts in Ghana now, we have functioning district hospitals. And it is our population is better protected. And that is for me the most important aspect of this situation. how best we can protect the population. It's not a grandiose plan, but it is, as far as I'm concerned, a necessary part of being the president of a country is to take the measures that, in your view, will help protect your people from disaster, from tragedy, from wrongdoing, from issues. And that is what motivated Agenda 111. And we're going to do it, and we're going to succeed. I know everything I want to do is met by a lot of Jeremic pronouncements from my opponents. You can't do it. They said that I was deceiving the people when I said I was going to organize senior high school on a free level across the country. We did it. It's now 4 years. It's become part of the fabric of the country. And in the same way, within 2 years, people will see that I was not deceiving the people. I wasn't trying to play politics with their perception, but that we were determined to do it and that it was necessary. There's a second aspect of the Agenda 111, which I will take the opportunity of this interview also to put on the table. I think if 10 years ago we had learned the lessons of Ebola, we would have taken decisions to establish a certain self-reliance in the production of vaccines. We didn't. This time around, the shortage of vaccines that hit the world, which meant that one part of the world where people who have their money are able to buy up all the vaccines of the world, hold it. Now here no I said this in this capability. I don't think that I would like to leave that as a legacy for future generations of Ghanaians. So that's the second decision we took. Agenda 111 is directly related to the COVID pandemic and its consequences. The second decision which we took said we will now try and organize the production of vaccines for ourselves in Ghana, not just for the COVID, but for other things, that is snake serums and the various vaccines that our people require as a matter of health protection. And we're putting together a committee in front of, at the moment, the Vaccine Manufacturing Committee, headed by one of the most distinguished scientists of our country, from Bonkwati. So one in Shekwanya, a roadmap which will lead us to be able to produce our vaccine. Committee will assemble scientists from across the spectrum, the universities, the think tanks, the institutes like Noguchi, the administrators of the health service, practicing doctors, all of them are together, and they are now fashioning a roadmap. They made an interim report to me about what is required for us to do it, and I'm determined that that too is something that will be done. It will take time, because there are many things you have to do: the research, the certification processes, regulatory processes, making sure that because vaccine will be enough for you have to be very, very careful and be satisfied. Said has been properly tested, and whatever be the case, my view is so sure. Yes. Yes, your boy now says, oh, it takes out some baby. Can be. So, do you way, but who makes me iron? Who feels to make me iron? They don't know about the set. So, response to yeah. I believe that, and before to look after this and the steps that they're taking, the support that they're receiving across the world.
that's solid. And yeah, the Bible better because when we are able to produce our own persons. Now in the research arena, Nancy, University of Cape Coast now an honorary degree. University of Cape Coast today has been ranked as the best research institution in the world. And I'm trying to
Wow, there you go. Say these skeptics be American as usual. They bum is one. There's always a professional group here, whatever I'm saying it tells you everything.
Yeah.
It tells you everything.
And since because also Yamo honorary degree, you are an alumni of the UCC.
Absolutely.
But we're making you proud this year by being the number one ranked research institution in the whole world.
But
in Africa, but a world.
And they say about and it tells us, like, which is the statement I've been making ever since I assumed this high office of president. Say, me kind of we can. We don't have always to say inside the whole year patrol say so the big battle me bwabwa year. They have to maintain so tight here. You can't why you to be there. You know why you so much me. And things like this, when it comes out, it gladdens my heart because it reinforces this belief I have that all things are possible.
Sure.
In our place.
So on the side, maybe you increase grant to the University of Cape.
But it's a good reason. Why not? It's a good reason. You're fighting for your own school. I see that. I'm a one.
Okay. But the actualizing agenda 111. I'm sure the presence of MMDCs in the various districts would help.
They'll be there.
And I'm sure
they're there already. The impression is being given that there are no MMDCs in the system. It's false. All the people who were MMDCs in my first term are still at post.
Okay.
I instructed the chief of staff, who's the administrator of all of these people, to extend the tenure in an acting capacity, because the president has that power under the Constitution. So people who are off, if there's a vacancy, that people can act to fill that vacancy pending the appointment of substantive office holders. So there's no vacuum in local governments in Ghana as we speak today. The 260 metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives are all in place.
But there are certain things they can't do because they are acting.
Tell me what?
Because the little research we've done, speaking to them, there are a lot of things they can't give go ahead because they are in acting capacities. But actually, and them also the night there in there, you are releasing the list. So I don't know if you do them on this platform.
No, I'm so. It's an important point. It's an important point. The last time when we were in office, we found ourselves, for instance, in the last year before the election, making new appointments. I don't want to do that. I want to be sure about the people that are calling to help me at the local level government to be in place all through the rest of my mandate. And it's not an easy task. Originally, I had hoped that the people in the districts would make the decisions themselves. And that by this time, we would have amended the constitution, have been before at every district, and municipality and metropolis. Up to a Nipa, when you have to just on the Kaya, took many steps towards it. Unfortunately, you for now, what any country is here, the other side, unfortunately. Into me out for they do so over the year. Since I will be a party issue. Say party be bad, no about the constitution just to suit itself. Then it says so before for bad near Babas baby. Some of these things over the year, let's say consensus, broad consensus in the political space. Then it should be about the consensus, for instance, over the creation of the regions. And we went ahead with a very difficult constitutional process to create regions, 2/3 there, 3/4 there, and sana, which we HBI. Now, when we buy now, opposition can say, we need to be support the idea of direct election. We can say, yes, I be a meeting. A brand back, when we unite, we say, that will be the proper situation in which to act. It's in about the same old system, and then we have to use it. But old system, in a new political context where there's a need for broad consultation, and that is what I've done. I set up committees at the regional and national level to make recommendations for me. I have to really make sure say recommendations to suit the political purposes of the government and respond to issues of competence, political suitability, and all of these things. Loyalty to me as president, because at the end of the day, they are my appointees at the local level. But it will, in this month of September, all these matters will be resolved.
September.
Yeah, which means I said the program is the Babes. When you scoop, but it's on the way.
Okay.
As I show you, by the end of this month. Yeah, in the course of this month,
okay.
It will be done.
But will you go again on getting consensus for us to vote for MMDCs?
Of course, we have to work on that. Hopefully, so once the names are announced, government machinery, to the extent where it is necessary, party machinery, all that will be put into being to make sure that we can get a quick endorsement of it by consensus, so we can move on.
Okay. This week, Eko Jomora, there was this demonstration pleading with you and the government. There's been similar one in the Volta region. What are your views on those pleas for the real place?
I think, first of all, seeing my chest, I said, yeah, restrictions here are there in this COVID era. Be any hope that I can say anything. Mask, I will say, are you happy about that?
You're not coming. Oh, yeah.
But normally we don't do that. Normally we greet, we hug. All kinds of restrictions that nearby, and yet the normal, etc. But for the sake of our public health, this is here. Got for arrangements here, right from the beginning, March 2020, this year has received acclaim from across the world. Some of the best organized arrangements of any government, not here in Africa, in the world. There was a time when there was a survey, an international public health survey, which found that Ghana and South Korea were the two best managed countries as far as the COVID pandemic is concerned. It's because we took these extensive measures. One of them was the closing of the borders. It was not government degenerated. It came from abroad to our country. And until we are sure that we've had a strong control over this thing, we need to be careful about our contacts. At the airport, we have been able to put in a first-class system which is able to control the inflow of people into Ghana by air. Fortunately, when I say fortunately, I mean in terms of that particular issue of this pandemic, we only have one airport. Anybody will be free, maybe about Ghana, only the airport, only one airport. It's a airports one. And you can at least control the inflow of people into the country. And so far, that has worked. We've had a system that has been well acclaimed, well embraced across the nation. The land borders pose a different kind of problem. You've got unattributed ways of coming into up to now still controlling that is still difficult. It's difficult. The systems of testing at the borders can be as rigorous as they are at
the airport.
At Kutuka. We have a lot of our people who are doing this, coming and going on a daily basis. Same day, what are you going to do? You're going to test these people every time? Same in the Volta region. People, the connections between us and two. It's a horrendous set of problems. Yes. To them, the issue of vaccinations. Are you going to insist that everyone who comes is vaccinated? Are you in a position to enforce that? You yourself, how many of your people have you been able to vaccinate? So this is a schmozzle of problems. I have great sympathy for people living in the border areas who are having the distractions involved in the closure of the borders. But then, with respect, Mr. Grace, they're not unique. All of us are going through a lot of hassle of this matter, having to break our teeth and bear it in the interest of the larger good. Until they are satisfied that to complete our neighbors, how rigorous and how far have they gone with their own arrangements about controlling the virus? Kenya, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire. So until we're satisfied, say opening the land borders will not radically impact the spread of the infection. I would prefer to err on the side of caution in terms of wanting to protect the population, because at all stages, for me, that has been the most important objective of all the policy COVID, protecting the population. That's my first responsibility. As president, that is my first responsibility, and I'm determined to carry out that responsibility. I've heard of these protests, I acknowledge them, I've taken them into account. We have this COVID task force, which has brought together a broad section of Ghanaian officials, scientists, public health administrators across the world who meet regularly. We had a meeting last week in which these matters are considered all the time, and we review. You can see the result of our reviews in the various different policy changes and announcements that we make. And until we are satisfied, so which means land borders, emphasis, for the time being, they will remain closed. And I think it is better for us, all of us, to understand why we are doing these things. And I'm hoping that behind these demonstrations are not politics and politicians wanting to exploit local difficulties. And I'm hoping, because if you said, I know saying MYA, these are not matters. The public health of our country is not a matter we should play politics.
Very interesting, and indeed, we will trust your judgment, because as our year throughout COVID, has proven to be the right decisions, and we'll go with it and pray.
Wait, you've done well. You've done well in making this statement.
I mean, it's so evident for us to see when we close down, whatever we've done has really proven to be yes, exactly. We would have to, and then we pray that we would overcome this earlier.
What we have to pray for is to get our hands on enough vaccines to vaccinate our population.
Now, once we talk about it, COVID has brought a lot of impact on the economy. Eben, you've achieved a lot when it comes to economic growth, but how confident are you of the rebounding after?
I'm confident. I'm confident for 2 or 3 reasons. One, I believe the policies that the government have put in place are strong policies. They're the policies that enabled us to to achieve an average 7% GDP growth in the years 2017, 2018, 2019, and in 2020, with the impact of the pandemic, most of the world's economies went into recession. We did not. Even though the rate of growth that we registered was modest, I think some 0.9% or something, it was still a positive rate of growth, and that was unusual against the background of what was happening there, because the fundamentals of the Canadian economy are strong, and very strong policies were laid down to create that fundamental situation. So first of all, the policies that have been put in place to assist the rebound of the economy. And I think we're seeing the rebound of the economy. This second quarter, the first quarter of 2021, GDP growth rate was estimated at 3.1%, according to the statisticians. This second quarter, 8.9%. Our target this year is a 5% rate of growth is coming out of the pandemic. If you remember, we inherited 3-point-something% rates of growth in 2016. So even with all the difficulties of the pandemic, the target that we have here is much stronger than what we inherited. So I'm very confident. And secondly, my confidence is also in the people of Ghana. These are hardworking people. These are enterprising, entrepreneurial people. If you give them the chance, they will deliver. It's not an accident. There's so many things in this country. Many years, the major cocoa producers, we are the biggest producers of gold in the world. All of these are a testament to the capacity of our people to work and create and innovate. And then, of course, the wealth of the country. The wealth of the country is the third reason why I'm confident that properly exploited, we have every reason. The Obantampa policy, the Ghana Cares program, which is a fundamental policy perspective of the government on the way forward, is a very ambitious program. But God willing, we are able to pursue it. It will aid a rapid recovery of our economy. And I'm sure that is on the way.
Just when we're preparing to come to have an interaction with you, some school feeding caterers sent in some message. Now, they say that they are owed some 2 terms, and they are also owing their suppliers. And that if care is not taken, they may have a sit-down strike in the coming weeks. What are the plans to curtail that?
Well, I'm happy to be able to announce that now all the regions, payments have been made to caterers in all the regions. They have now been made. It is true that initially Western and Western North were not paid because of insufficient funds, but that has been corrected. And as we speak now, the Ministry of Finance released some 31 million CDs for the payment of caterers in the 2 regions, Western and Western North. And the gender minister has released this to the school feeding secretary for the payments to be made. So I mean, any second from now, all of the caterers and their legitimate grievances that they had will be addressed.
Okay.
We're trying to find a way of working whereby these things will not occur in the future, so that it's seamless. And I think we're going to get that. First of all, taking an audit of the workings of the program, so that we are really clear about matching resources against facilities and making sure that therefore there are no overlaps or deficiencies in this. But Grace, I've been here for a long time.
Yes. Just before you came, I was talking to your public sector minister, and then he said that the way to describe president is the son of the Eastern region or an Eastern region person developing the West, like Dr. Kwame Nkrumah from the West developing the East. And that's how we have to describe you.
I'm okay with that.
So what will be your last message for the region you are developing?
We should continue to support me and the work of my government. We have good plans, we have good policies for the region, and we're determined to make sure that the wealth of this region is developed for the benefit of the people of the region and of our country. So one time is the Basel Baba down said last election, out of the 17 constituencies of all the Western region, I won 10. And my party in the parliament won 9 out of the 17. So we have a majority both at the presidential and the parliamentary level. So we buy look at the Antiama base, so we buy the Piase, when I to about to Yemen Tema, so we don't say. Now 2024 day, and I'm looking for a landslide. And now Juma Evabe or have a Biano who's a part, MPP, which you are so many.
Okay.
It's made was pop up.
Okay. You say Melawasi. That's how you say Melawasi in Melawasi in Ahanta. And thanks to the hard work carrying out this as well, Kobe. We're grateful to him. And thanks, Mr. President, for coming to speak to the people of West Region through the region's radio station, Sky.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'd love to meet you again.
All right.
I will. All right. Na Yama President safe journey to baby Oracle. This has been Sky Power 93.5. Good morning. Good afternoon.